I'm the Greetings Geek, and I like to make greeting cards. I make all sorts of cards, but when I can, I also like to make cards pertaining to my different fandoms. These cards are variations of a Doctor Who card. I have a simple version of this card, which I'll link below, but today's card is a bit more in-depth and requires more tools. Here I'm using a piece of Nina 80-pound cardstock cut to A2 card size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm using Distress Oxides to blend a simple background. I will have my colors and all my tools listed on my blog, which is www.greetingsgeek.com, but I used picked raspberry, fossilized amber, salty ocean, and my absolute favorite, which is blueprint sketch, even though I can't talk today. Blending backgrounds is something that I want to improve, but I'm not very patient, and I think that's my biggest problem. I would really love to blend them the way Jennifer Maguire can. Next, I'm using Hero Art's Starry Night background stamp and Versamark ink to add to my background. I'm going to emboss it with silver embossing powder, and I've had this embossing powder for a really long time. I'm pretty sure it came from Michaels or Hobby Lobby, but there are lots of companies that have some beautiful silver embossing powders out there. I couldn't find my tweezers, so I tried holding it with a clip, and that just didn't work, so I ended up using my fingers anyway. I do love this background though, especially when it's embossed in silver. I think it's just beautiful. For my TARDIS, I drew one TARDIS using Photoshop and then copied it in different sizes so that I could have a lot of sizes to pick from. I printed it out and chose a 1 1/2 by 3 inch TARDIS to fit my A2 card. There is a Doctor Who stamp that's available at Kindred Stamps, and I just bought that, so expect to see a video with that stamp at some point. Anyway, I'm using Prismacolor pencils and Gamsol for my coloring. I am not a coloring expert, and I probably do a lot of things wrong, but I really love using the Prismacolor pencils. I'll have all the colors listed on my blog. I used 2 blues layered on top of one another, and then I used Gamsol to blend them. I then used my darkest blue, and I think it was indigo, to go along the areas that I wanted shadowed. After adding my window color, I started fussy cutting my TARDIS, and I cut it right on the line and then used a black marker to darken the edges. I'm working on my sentiment. I'm using a 2 by 1 1/2 inch piece of Nina white 80-pound cardstock, and I'm lightly drawing on some lines so that I can stamp my letters straight. Using the My Favorite Things mini well linked alphabet stamp. It is one of the easiest alphabet stamps I've ever used, although you'll have to excuse my head getting in the way here. They're created to link, so they're fairly easy to join together, and I use them a lot to make custom sentiments. I started with the middle letter of hello so that my sentiment was centered, and once I'd centered hello, I eyeballed where the sweetie should start, but I think I should have probably centered it the same way I did the hello. And I used VersaFine Onyx Black for all of my sentiments. I erased all of my pencil lines, and I glued my sentiment to a 2 1/4 by 1 3/4 piece of black cardstock. Next, I used some silver foil paper and the Lawn Fawn Starry Sky die to cut some little stars for my background. You don't have to do this. You can use a gel pen to make stars or sequins, or not add any at all, but I love the little stars, and the silver foil paper I used is from Close to My Heart. I trimmed my blended and stamped background to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I glued it to a 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch piece of black cardstock. I then glued my TARDIS and my sentiment to the front and started adding some of the die cut stars. Probably went a little overboard, but I really like this little silver stars. And for the inside of my card, I added a piece of 4" by 5¼ Nina white cardstock and stamped a sentiment from the You Aren't Normal stamp set by Technique Tuesday. And I added more of the die cut stars to the inside because, yeah, I like the stars. So finally I glued my card front onto my card base, and there you have it. Thank you for watching my video. Please hit the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And I'll see you next week with a new video. Thank you. Bye.